People say that time flows like a river. It follows a current down a single direction. But so often that river branches and spreads in many places. That is why we are here to map these alternative branches and show the possibilities. Welcome to Darth Theorist, where we explore the depths of the Force, analyze characters, and speculate on what could have been. Whether you're a Jedi Knight, a Sith Lord, or a curious traveler, prepare to ignite your imagination as we begin this journey. Anakin's fall to the dark side was a story decades in the making, both in the movies and the universe. It took many years of manipulation and the right pieces to fall into place for that story to end the way it did. One of the first pieces was Obi-Wan training Anakin instead of Qui Gon Jinn. Although these two shared a close bond, Obi-Wan was a very different man from his master, which affected how Anakin viewed the Jedi. Unlike the other Jedi, Qui Gon Jinn was not strict in following the Jedi Code. While this might seem odd, it would suit Anakin's more reckless and independent-minded personality, creating a better combination than Obi-Wan's more traditional views. This raises the question, what if Qui-Gon survived and trained Anakin as a Jedi? Would he still become the Dark Lord we know? Or would Palpatine still get Anakin into his clutches? To answer that question, we must travel back to Naboo. As Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan escort Queen Padme Amidala to her palace to confront the Trade Federation, Darth Maul forces them to separate from the rest of the group. Although an excellent Jedi, Qui-Gon feels a rush of fear as he crosses blades with the Sith Lord. It had been many years since the Jedi last encountered a dark-side user. Few living Jedi have had any real experience fighting them. Darth Maul is an excellent fighter, his dual-sided blade managing to block all their attacks and keep the pair on their toes. Even with his limited experience, Qui-Gon sees Maul as a cunning warrior. They can only defeat him by fighting together and getting under his defenses. This one is unpredictable, Obi-Wan. Stay close to me. Despite the chaos around him, Obi-Wan heeds his master's advice, not allowing themselves to be separated as they slowly push Maul back into the reactor room. Maul grows frustrated as he had hoped to cut the two off and deal with them separately. Recognizing that Qui-Gon is the real threat, he rushes towards him, trying to force him off the edge of the reactor. This plan nearly succeeds as Qui-Gon has to defend himself. While blocking Maul's attacks, Obi-Wan strikes. Just as Qui-Gon had wanted to keep his Padawan close to keep him safe, Obi-Wan does the same for his master. With a single stroke, he sent Maul toppling into the reactor. Well done, Obi-Wan. I'm fortunate to have you by my side. Now, let's find Anakin and the others. Lucky for them, the Queen had captured Nute Gunray, while Anakin had managed to destroy the Trade Federation control ship, allowing the Naboo forces to claim victory. With their business concluded, Qui-Gon takes his two wards back to the Jedi Temple. For his victory against Maul, Obi-Wan is knighted. Qui-Gon is proud to see his apprentice showered in praise, but has a more serious topic to discuss: the fate of Anakin. Once again, he urges the Council to train Anakin. Maul's appearance only highlights how the dark side has returned and that they need to put their faith in the Chosen One, now more than ever. This boy has the potential to be the greatest of all of us, but only if he receives the proper training. You are right that we are in troubled times, so the Jedi must stick by its code more than ever, lest we be led to the dark side. But this boy is reckless and has great potential to harm the Order.
Agree with Master Windu, I do. Dangerous this boy is. Clouded is his future.
All the more reason to train him. If his future is so uncertain, then isn't it our duty to guide him to the right path? The Council has put it to a vote. We have decided that this boy will not be allowed to join the Order. I vowed to train that boy. Then not here. Not as a Jedi. Very well. Then consider this my formal resignation. The Council is shocked by this announcement. Few Jedi are willing to leave the Order, and yet here was one of their most distinguished masters casting off his title without a moment's hesitation. Not even his Padawan, Obi-Wan, can convince him otherwise. "If you will not stay, I will leave with you. We found Anakin together. Let us train him together." It is the Master's job to sacrifice for his Padawan, not the other way around. You've dedicated your life to getting where you are. I will not ask you to throw it away. You're not asking, and you are my master. I am not your master anymore, Obi-Wan. You're a Jedi now. I've taught you everything I can. Now it's time for you to find your destiny. But don't worry. We shall meet again. Little does anyone know, Qui-Gon isn't the only Jedi who would leave the Order. Dooku, Qui-Gon's former master, had long harbored issue with the Order. His former Padawan had been one of his last links to the Jedi, and with him gone, Dooku would fall to the dark side. Despite his conviction, Qui-Gon knew that training Anakin would be different than training Obi-Wan. His former apprentice needed a master, but Anakin needed a father. Growing up as a slave, he had little experience in the world, or anyone to guide him. He needed guidance to be the Jedi, and to temper his negative traits. He would not use the Jedi's strict code. Instead, he taught Anakin about the living force through experience. The living force connected all beings in the galaxy together, so the best way for Anakin to learn is by seeing the galaxy for himself, and understanding how the force manifested in them. They would travel to countless worlds, those with strong connections to the force, and with cultures deeply rooted in its worship. Anakin would learn how different beings saw the force, and how to apply it to his life. But philosophy and culture weren't the only things the two sought in their travels. Though no longer Jedi, the two still saw themselves as peacemakers and traveled across the galaxy, helping beings in need just as Anakin had always wanted. It was a difficult life, but it gave Anakin meaning. He had experienced the cruelty of the galaxy firsthand, and now had a way to help others just as he wanted. They would live like this for many years until they received a transmission from an old friend. Obi-Wan Kenobi informed them that Padme was nearly assassinated. Though he was charged with protecting her, he asked for their help due to their previous experience. Qui-Gon and Anakin eagerly agreed to the mission. For Qui-Gon, it was a chance to reconnect with his old student, and for Anakin, one of his oldest friends. As Anakin spends time with Padme, the relationship deepens into something romantic. The difference is the circumstances surrounding it. Without the Jedi code hovering over him, Anakin would feel less guilt and be free to pursue those feelings. While that would happen, the plot to assassinate Padme would lead Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon to uncover a larger conspiracy that ended with the beginning of the Clone Wars. With this conflict unleashed, the Jedi Council offered Qui-Gon and Anakin a deal.
Foolish we were by not listening to you, Qui-Gon. Return the dark side has, and bringing chaos to the galaxy it will.
Now is the time for unity if we are to defeat Count Dooku and the Confederacy of Independent Systems. The Council offers you your old position and a knighthood for young Skywalker. Although Qui-Gon is doubtful, he understands that Anakin has a role to play in this war and accepts the offer. However, Anakin privately confesses to Qui-Gon about his marriage to Padme. Qui-Gon accepts the marriage wholeheartedly. However, he reminds him that the Jedi forbid marriage. If he is not prepared to separate from Padme, he should keep it a secret. During the Clone Wars, Qui-Gon and Anakin would work closely with Obi-Wan. Having been taught the different facets of the Force, Anakin would go into the war more powerful and also more mature than he ever could under the Jedi. He would make a name for himself as a general and a Jedi, winning victories throughout the galaxy. His mastery of the Force would inspire countless Jedi, while his concern for the well-being of his troops and the civilians would earn him the admiration of the people he saved. But they weren't the only ones whose attention Anakin got. Chancellor Palpatine also saw the potential in Anakin and began sowing the seeds of doubt in his mind. He would remind him of how the Jedi rejected him and only allowed him into the Order when they needed him. He would warn that they might not let him advance to become a master. These thoughts would remain in the back of Anakin's mind. His attention was on the war. This would continue for several years until Anakin and the Jedi's greatest victory, the Battle of Coruscant. Here, Anakin and his master managed to save the Chancellor and kill Count Dooku. Shortly after, Anakin would begin to have troubling dreams about his wife. He would see her die as she gave birth to his children. These were troubling thoughts to the young man, who had seemed to have everything he wanted in life. It was the opening that Palpatine was looking for. Approaching Anakin, he began to tell him about the dark side and how harnessing its power would allow him to save his wife. As his anxiety clawed at him, Anakin was left vulnerable to that offer. It was tempting, and now he had even less attachment to the Jedi. Why would he care about what they thought of him if they viewed him as a tool for their ends? As far as he was concerned, he owed them nothing. But there was one person he did owe, the man who raised him as if he were his own, who gave up everything to give Anakin the life he never had. Unlike before, Anakin had a support system, someone he knows understands his situation. After meeting with the Chancellor, Anakin asked to speak with his master privately. He explained everything to Qui Gon. He told him about the dark side and how he felt it pulling towards him, promising the power to save his beloved. Anakin, I understand the pain you feel now, but what you're thinking is not the answer. To try and change the future like that. You're making the same mistake as the Jedi Council all those years ago. It's not the same. I'm trying to save someone's life. If I don't do something, she will die. Haven't you always taught me that when someone's in trouble, you have to help them no matter what? I've taught you to see the suffering in the galaxy, to feel the pain of others, and to know that you can help them. But this vision is not the future. You do not know what will and will not happen. You are dabbling in things beyond your understanding. For all you know, this may only make things worse. What should I do, Master? Talk to Padme. Be there for her. This is a trying time for her, and she could use her husband. Whatever happens, whatever may come, be there with her and face it together, as I have been for you. The words of his master rang home to the young Jedi, who broke down in tears and embraced his master. In their years together, Qui-Gon had warned about the dangers of attachment, but had also taken the time to teach how to deal with it, to say goodbye, and to accept the world as it is. Stay here, Anakin, and clear your head. I deal with the Chancellor. Agreed. With this report from Anakin, the Jedi now had evidence of the identity of Darth Sidious. Qui-Gon informed Mace about his findings, and together, they took the remaining council members in the temple, Kit Fisto, Ajen Kalar, and CC-Teen, to arrest Palpatine. Unfortunately, the Jedi underestimated Palpatine. As they ordered him to surrender, the Sith Lord springs forward. With speed that belies his age, he ignites a pair of lightsabers and cuts down Ajen Kalar and CC-Teen in a second. Kit Fisto and Mace barely brought up their weapons to block their attacks. Qui-Gon met these attacks fearlessly. Far from being intimidated by his initial attack, it invigorates him. He had defeated Palpatine's first student, been trained by his second, and had served as a father for the man he had tried to make his third. As Kit Fisto fell, the old Jedi Master took his place and pushed back. I know of the lies you've told my Padawan. Do not think I would allow him to fall from the light while I live. I did not plan on letting you live for an instant. It's a shame Maul failed to kill you when he had the chance. Meanwhile, as Anakin meditates, he feels a disturbance in the Force and senses his master in trouble. Hurrying to the Chancellor's office, he finds the mangled bodies of the fallen Jedi Masters and realizes what a fool he'd been for trusting him. Palpatine was not the harmless man he pretended to be, but a sadistic killer who had orchestrated the deaths of countless people. Inside, he finds Palpatine locked in combat with Mace and Qui-Gon. The two Jedi had managed to corner Palpatine, though he was putting up a much better fight than either had expected. They came at him from opposite sides, trying to divide his attention, but Palpatine's quick spins and flips prevented them from surrounding him. Things were only made worse by his lightning attacks. As he unleashed a powerful blast that sent Qui Gon flying across the room, he noticed Anakin.
Anakin, my boy! Please, help
Enough
me!
of your lies, Chancellor. He unleashes a powerful force push that slams the Chancellor against the wall. Before the Chancellor can get up, Mace leaps towards him with his lightsaber raised, but is forced to block a burst of lightning.
Yes, I admit it. I have deceived you. But not everything was a deception. The power I possess is real. I can keep the one you love alive. If you join me.
The words give Anakin pause, preventing him from dropping the killing blow. He hesitates at the image of his wife dying. He sees the people he's lost in the past, his mother, the missions he's failed, and the bodies of the defeated Jedi outside. Suddenly, Qui Gon rushes forward to finish Palpatine, but the moment lets him recover. He rolls aside from Mace's lightsaber and thrusts his sword into Qui Gon's chest. The old Jedi gasps and collapses to his side. Anakin watches in horror, screaming his master's name as Palpatine climbs to his feet.
You should have joined me when you had the chance, young Skywalker. But now, you shall join your master.
You won't. Within human speed, Anakin attacks, and with a single cut, decapitates Palpatine. He then rushes towards his dying master, begging him to stay with him.
Please, Master, don't leave me. You'll be all right.
It's unbecoming of a Jedi to lie like that.
We can heal you, Master.
No. It is the will of the Force. I served my purpose. I have taught you everything and helped you achieve your destiny. Now, it's your turn. Live your life free from this burden.
As he takes his final breath, Anakin sees his old memories. This time, all their successful missions of Qui Gon training Anakin over the years, guiding him to adulthood, and perhaps, most importantly, of Qui Gon leaving the Jedi Order. Only now Anakin understands the importance of that decision. Qui Gon had forsaken his attachments for the greater good, and Anakin must now live up to his example. For his role in defeating Palpatine, Anakin is a Jedi Master, serving alongside Obi-Wan, who both work to honor their late master's memory. Padme, meanwhile, would give birth to a healthy set of twins. Though it was a difficult process, she would survive the process and become the next Chancellor. She would go on to pass much-needed reforms that helped heal the rift caused by the Clone Wars. Under Anakin's influence, the Jedi would take a more proactive role in the rebuilding, following Qui-Gon's example as they worked to create a better galaxy. That's our theory. The Star Wars universe is a galaxy filled with exciting stories and possibilities, and we love exploring them. If you want to accompany us on this journey to a galaxy far, far away, then please like, share, and subscribe to our channel.